Hello and welcome to the 3D Stack public webinar on digital slide viewing solutions for routine pathology research and education. It's good to see so many people from all around the world, from the States to Brazil, to India, from France, and a special hello goes out to our friends from Philips and Leica this time. This is Marcel Baratsky, Product Marketing Manager, and I have with me Mr. Ákos Ágyi, Product Manager, and he will show you the exciting details of 3D Stack's digital slide viewing solutions, including a live demo on CaseViewer. Okay, but before I hand over to him, let me give you a brief outline and an introduction of what we are going to see today. So I will briefly talk about slide viewing solutions in general, including benefits and a very short market outlook, and then I hand over to Ákos, who will show you in detail our digital slide viewing solutions, and he will take you through with an exciting live demo on CaseViewer. If you have any questions, I'm sure you will have some, please hold them until the end, and then we will have an opportunity to answer any questions. Okay, so what's a slide viewing solutions? Well, it's very easy. It's software for opening and viewing digital slides. These solutions are called a number of names. Leica calls them Pathology slide viewing software. Hamamatsu calls them viewer software. Somebody calls them digital microscopy software or a digital microscope application, but whatever you call it, it's indispensable in digital pathology. As soon as you have a digital slide, you will need a viewer to open it and to handle it. So what are the benefits of these digital slide viewing solutions? First of all, it's user ergonomy. There is no eyepiece, so there is no stooping over a microscope for long hours, so it's good for the back and the neck of the pathologist or the researcher or the student. Number two is efficiency. Several users can view the slide, one slide, the same slide at a time. Obviously, it makes it very efficient. Remote access is possible, which makes a lot of sense for teleconsultation, mostly in routine pathology and also for medical education. And last but not least, if you have an optional analysis software, digital image analysis is possible, so there's no need for manual counting anything like cell nuclei, for example. Okay, market outlook. There are several options out there in the market. There are standalone viewing solutions versus bundled solutions, bundled with workflow software, slide management software, image analysis software, etc. There are multi-platform solutions, there are single platform solutions, and obviously some of them are free and some of them are not free. So this is all about the short introduction. Let me now hand over to Ákos, who will show you in detail the slide viewers by 3D Stack. Thank you, Ákos.
Hello and welcome, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank Marcel for the nice introduction. During today's webinar, on the first part of this webinar, I will give you a short presentation about our viewer solutions, and in the second part of the webinar, I intend to make a live demo of our CaseViewer software. The CaseViewer is 3D Stack's main viewer software. It's available for Windows and macOS devices. One of the nicest feature, and in my opinion, one of the best feature of the CaseViewer is the multi-view or parallel view, when you can see up to 9 slides in the same time on the screen. This is literally the killing feature of the digital pathology. You cannot do this by using a traditional microscope. Another important feature of our CaseViewer software is the handling of Z layers. Basically, our scanners can scan the slide in multiple layers, and in the viewer you can quickly switch between these layers, it has the same effect as the micro knob on your traditional microscope. And since we have multiple layers on a digital slide, we can also do three-dimensional reconstruction. Later, I will present this for you on a confocal digital slide. Our viewer is designed or it was designed originally to open our MRXS digital slides, but nowadays we can open third-party slide formats such as digital slides converted to DICOM. The graphical user interface of this software is easy to use. We have three-dimensional or flat icons, so basically anybody can set this software according to his or her taste. The software is freely available for download from our website in 64 and 32-bit versions. On this slide, you can see a screenshot of the CaseViewer, and you can see that basically we put on the graphical user interface only the most important functions. So the menu, it's quite small. And because of this, we have a lot of screen real estate for the most important thing, for the digital slide. What do we have here? Basically, we have some buttons which give us information about the slide, about the scanning, or about the label area. Then we have slide manipulation tools, annotations, rotation, and so on. In the next section, we have tools for zooming in and out in the slide. And we also have a histogram button. With this feature, we can modify the contrast, the brightness, and the gamma saturation of the digital slide image if needed. And under the plugins button, we have several features, several small programs actually, which extend the functionality of the CaseViewer. The majority of these small programs is paid programs, so you need to buy them individually, and you can cherry pick which one would you like to include in your viewer. In the right part of the graphical user interface, you can find the button for the settings and help menu, where you can fine-tune the software according to your needs, and you can consult the user's manual. Our CaseViewer software is basically a digital microscope software. It has all the controls which is needed for a traditional microscopy evaluation. The magnification can be set by buttons which have the shape of a microscope objective. We have the traditional magnifications here like 5x, 10x, 20x, and 40x. Of course, if you would like, you can use the scroll button from your mouse to zoom in and zoom out, and you can also zoom in and zoom out by using touch gestures on a touch screen. In CaseViewer, you can create annotations. We support freehand and fixed sized annotations. If you would like, the sample can be rotated. If needed, you can measure the distance between objects, or you can measure the diameter of an object with our measurement tool. And finally, if you find an interesting spot on the digital slide, you can capture it quickly with our snapshot function. Let me show you again the parallel view. As I already mentioned, probably this is the most important and the most useful feature of the software. On this screenshot, you can see the viewer, basically showing 4 digital slides. All these digital slides were made, or actually the original glass slides were made from the same block. These are consecutive sections. Of course, they are stained with different antibody, with different stain. In this viewer software, after opening them, you just need to click on the automated rotation button, and the software automatically rotates them into the same orientation and also brings them into the same zoom level. After this, you can link together these slides, and basically you can zoom in, zoom out, pan and move the slides, and all the slides will move together. Basically, you can see the same area, the same tissue with different stains in the same time. I will present you this in my live demo as well. The CaseViewer software, it's fully compatible with our slide driver. The slide driver is a device with microscope-like controls. We recommend it for users who prefer the traditional microscope controls instead of the mouse or instead of the touch screen for navigating on the digital slide. As I already mentioned, the CaseViewer can be extended with several plugins. The most important plugin is our Quant Center image analysis platform. Basically, this image analysis software lives inside your viewer. It has 9 individual modules for histopathology and for molecular pathology use as well. And one of the unique selling points of this Quant Center is that the different modules can be linked together. For example, you can link together a tissue segmentation module with a nuclear quantification module. In this way, you can run the nuclear quantification only on the desired tissue type, for example. In the previous slides, I showed you the highlights of our CaseViewer software. Now I would like to speak about other viewer solutions what we have. The first one, what I would like to show you is our instant viewer. This viewer lives in the browser. So basically, you don't need to install anything. If you have our Case Center server solution for storing digital slides, this is the default viewer there. And if you click on a slide, the slide is opened automatically in the browser by our instant viewer. Basically, you can use this viewer on any device with a decent internet browser. Since there is no need for installation, it's the perfect solution for medical students or external consultants. Just imagine if you are a medical student preparing for your exams. Probably you don't want to spend the time with installing software if you can open the slides instantly in your browser. The same applies to external consultants. If you share a digital slide with a colleague from outside your institution, probably that person, even if he is willing to install our CaseViewer software, is not able to do it because of strict IT regulations. So in that case, it's also handy to be able to open the digital slide directly from the server inside the browser without any additional software. And of course, this viewer is also free of charge to use. On this slide, I would like to show you 2 screenshots about the instant viewer. The bigger one was taken on a desktop setting, and the smaller one was taken on an Android-based mobile phone. Basically, if you have a recent browser, then you can use this viewer. For iPad users, we have a special iPad viewer for opening our digital slides. It's available from the Apple App Store, and again, this is also a free software, so you can download it without making any payment. As a conclusion of this presentation, I would like to show you quickly a table which summarizes the compatibility and the features of our different viewer solutions. The flagship, the most advanced viewer is the CaseViewer. This is available for Windows and macOS devices. So basically, you can install it to desktops, laptops, and even on selected Windows-based tablets. It can open our own digital slide format and also some third-party formats. The iPad viewer is available only for iOS devices and can open our digital slide format. And basically the instant viewer, it's available for a wide range of devices. Practically, you can use it on mobile phones, desktops, laptops, and tablets, and can open our own digital slide format. In the next part of this webinar, I will switch to my CaseViewer and I will show you the main features of this software. I will also try to put a special accent on the Z-stack handling by showing you some confocal slides in this viewer. Now you should see the CaseViewer software. By using this software, you can open digital slides from a Case Center server or from the local computer. Right now, let's open a slide from a Case Center server. You just need to select the slide, and the slide is opened automatically. After opening the slide, you can download it, or if you opened it from the local hard drive, you can upload it to a Case Center server. You can also take a look at the slide information. For example, you can check what kind of objective, camera, scanner software was used to create this digital slide. You can always activate an overall view of the slide, and by using this, you can easily navigate and jump to different parts of the digital slide. You can open the label area as well. The label area can be rotated if needed. You can read it basically in any case. After opening the slide, you can also use the different annotation tools. You can create fixed annotations, basically rectangular annotation or circular annotation, as I'm doing it right now. You can also create completely freehand annotation, just like this. And it's available to use 20x and 40x field of view annotation if you need to count certain objects in a 20x or in a 40x field of view. All these annotations can be modified. For example, you can click on it and you can move it. It's quite easy to move the annotation. If the annotation is a free-sized annotation, you can later modify the size of the annotation as well. If you change your mind, you can even delete the annotation by clicking on it and by hitting the delete button on your keyboard. Alternatively, you can open the annotations list window and you can select the desired annotation or annotations from here, and you can delete them or you can hide them. If you would like, you can change the default name of the annotation. You can also add any note to the annotation itself, and you can change the color of the annotation. After the annotation panel comes the slide rotation panel. Basically, here you can rotate the digital slide. I see that probably the video is lagging a little. Normally, this rotation movement and actually all the pan and zoom movements are quite faster. Only the WebEx video makes this lag on the slide movement. You can also flip the slide horizontally and vertically if needed. If you would like to measure the diameter of a nuclei, you can do it by using our measurement tool. And if you would like to take a snapshot, you just need to click on this button and you can save a snapshot in screen resolution or in high quality print resolution on your local hard drive in various slide formats. Or if you wish, you can send it directly to the server. The zooming panel has basically three options. The first one is the best fit of the slide. Then you have the traditional buttons for the different magnifications. These are the objective-like buttons. And finally, you have the one-to-one or the native resolution button. Basically, this shows our native resolution. And even after this, you can zoom a little by using the scroll on your mouse. You don't need necessarily to use all these buttons. You can simply zoom in and zoom out by using your mouse as I'm doing it right now. If you would like, you can change the contrast, brightness, and gamma saturation of the digital slide. For example, you can change it like this. Of course, if you make any mistake, you don't necessarily need to save this. And even if you saved it, you can always reset and go back to the original color, and you can see the slide again in the color and contrast as it comes out from the scanner. Under the plugins menu, we have the Quant Center. We have here also the digital differential interference contrast feature. We have another feature for gradient map visualization, marker counter, TME function, and three-dimensional reconstruction. On this slide, first, I would like to show you the digital differential interference contrast feature and the gradient map visualization. Later, I will show you all the other plugins as well, but for the rest of them, I will need a different digital slide. Let's see first the digital differential interference contrast feature. Basically, this creates an image which is similar to the differential interference contrast microscope's image. Of course, this is not a real image from a digital from a differential interference contrast microscope. This is just a contrast enhancement algorithm which can help you to visualize some minor details of the tissue. It has a color and a black and white option as well. The gradient map visualization is quite useful to see where is the strongest staining on the digital slide. Of course, on a slide like this is not chilling, so let's open quickly a slide which is not positive or not overwhelmingly positive. On this slide, if we would like to see quickly where is the strongest diaminobenzidine stain, we can use this and we can see instantly that here there is something, so let's check it. Unfortunately, this is artifact, but still it's a stronger diaminobenzidine stain which is not present on the other parts of the tissue. As a proof of concept, I think this slide, by the way, it's quite good to show you what is the main purpose of this little feature here. Another important thing is the so-called marker counter. In some cases, even if you have image analysis modules, probably they cannot analyze the slide properly. In this case, could be handy the marker counter. Basically, you can set up different categories. We have here some built-in categories such as negative, positive, mitosis, and so on. And actually, you can create your own categories. You can specify the color of the category. You can specify how would you like to see the marking completely filled or just the outline, and what should be the size of your marker. In this case, I just would like to show you a really simple example with positive and negative categories. Inside a previously specified annotation, I can start to count the positive objects on the image. Basically, this tool is the alternative for the traditional clicker device, which is used for counting under a microscope. Similarly, you can also select the negative cluster and then mark the negative nuclei from the image. In the end of the work, you can click on the Summa button. You can select your annotation. And you can see how many negative and how many positive nuclei do you have there. This result can be exported in a spreadsheet format, and all your markings are saved on the digital slide. So you can stop anytime, you can continue, you can pick up later, and these markings are also saved basically for later examination if is needed to revisit a case later. Also on this slide, let me to show you quickly our quantification module. I already set up a measurement on this slide, and similarly to the marker counters markers, all the measurements made with our quant center is actually saved on the digital slide. I open now my previous measurement. In this case, I used first our pattern quant software for pattern recognition. Basically, I told the software to separate the stroma from the cancerous tissue. And then I instructed the nuclear quantification software to run the nuclei analysis only on the cancerous tissue. And as you can see, the nuclei is counted only in the cancerous tissue and the stroma is simply left out. Probably if I zoom out from this picture, it's much more obvious, or you can see it better. Since the measurement is saved on the digital slide, we save not just the measurement, I mean how many positive and how many negative nuclei were counted, but also the whole setup scenario. So you can always go back, you can check how was the quality of your tissue segmentation, the stroma versus the cancerous tissue, and then you can go and you can take a look how was set the nuclei detection. Later, we are planning to make a webinar just about the quant center. Before closing it, I just would like to show you quickly the modules. Basically, we have general purpose tools for tissue segmentation, such as pattern and histoquant. We have IVD certified purpose-built tools such as nuclear and membrane quant for nuclear and membrane detection. We have a research tool. Basically, it's a quite versatile tool for research. We call it CellQuant. It can detect nuclei, membrane, and cytoplasmic stain as well. And for genetic applications, we have CISH and FishQuant. Please indicate by typing in the chat window if you are interested in a separate webinar just about the features of our Quant Center software. Let's continue with a TME slide analysis, because under the plugins, we also have a TME function. For this purpose, I will open a TME slide, in this case from my hard drive. I already ran the analysis on this slide, so the markers are in place, or the annotations are in place, but actually I can delete them in a second, and I can redo for you the whole process from the beginning. From the plugins menu, you can simply select the TME function button, and as this small software module initializes, automatically finds the tissue course and automatically tries to put an annotation on the tissue course. By default, the software naming the annotations and actually the tissue course, like core 101 or 11, core 12, core 13, and so on. But if you are using our TME Grandmaster or TME Master Tissue Microarrayer, you can browse for an Excel export file generated by our TME machines software, and in this case, the naming of the markers, of the annotations, are changed instantly, and basically now all the spots, all the annotations are named after the donor block ID, which was used to generate the TME slide in the tissue microarray software. If everything is okay, you can create the annotations, and if you feel that some annotations are not perfectly placed, you can even later you can fine tune it even later. And if you would like to run later an automated image analysis in the quant center, for example, if you would like to start a membrane quantification, you can select from the list which annotation or which annotations would you like to quantify automatically with one of our image analysis modules. Now let's move to the Z layer visualization and to the three-dimensional reconstruction. Actually, I think that this will be the highlight of this webinar, of this presentation. I have here some digital slides recorded by our unique confocal scanner. The confocal scanner is a really unique device. Basically, it can capture and scan slides which are thicker than the normal slides, around 50 micrometer, for example. What you can see on this image is a sample with neurons. Right now we are seeing the so-called extended focus view, which means that the viewer software gets all the image information from all the layers and puts together into one layer for you. Of course, if you would like, you can disable this extended focus view, and by using the scroll button in your mouse, you can change between the different layers of the digital slide, and basically now we see the image information from layer to layer. Please notice that the changing between these layers is quite fast. I hope that the WebEx video can follow my movement fast enough. Anyway, you can change between these layers manually if you would like, if you have a digital slide with multiple layers, and you can also see the whole image in the extended focus view. If we are on the whole image, we can also start our three-dimensional reconstruction software. You just need to select a target area for this three-dimensional reconstruction software. And after that, you can generate a three-dimensional model of your digital slide. Let me enlarge this window for you here. Basically, you can see here the three-dimensional reconstruction of this digital slide about the neurons. You can see the actual body of the cell and the axons and the dendrites. And if you would like, you can even zoom in into this model. Actually, that's why our company is called 3D Histech. From the beginning, from the 90s, this was the ultimate goal to achieve. And right now, the technology is just right here. Of course, you don't need necessarily a confocal scanner to use this feature. The Z-Stack scanning in our digital slide scanners is available for normal bright field slides as well. On this slide, you can see a pop smear. And we are right now in the so-called extended focus view. So basically, the software shows us the best image from all the layers. And if we would like, you can switch to Z-Stack mode, and we can move between the layers. As I move my scroll button on the mouse, I have the same effect, and actually I do exactly the same thing what a pathologist normally does on the microscope when he or she moves the micro knob of the microscope. And if you would like, you can make three-dimensional reconstruction on a slide like this as well. Of course, probably it won't be so nice as the confocal image, but the technology still works quite well. And actually, for thinner samples, we have here a trick for you to enlarge this three-dimensional model. The scanning in multiple Z layers is useful not just for pap smear, it can be extremely useful also for hematology slides, for hematology smears, if you have interest in that field of the pathology. Finally, I would like to show you some fish slides, some fluorescent images, because our viewer is capable to handle and open fluorescent slides made with our fluorescent digital slide scanners. Here, if you have multiple layers, you can switch between the extended focus and between the different layers. And since this is a fluorescent slide, you can change from the pseudo color view to the original black and white image. You can change on the black and white image between the different channels. And if you go back to the colored view, you can also disable some channels, and you can visualize just one channel at a time if needed. And finally, before we finish this session, let me show you the parallel view feature. So I open again my lucky slide, and I divide the screen in 4 sections. After that, from the virtual tray, I can simply open all the other slides from this case, and with one single click I can instruct the software to move them into the same zoom level and same orientation. I can link them together, and from now on I can zoom and I can see all the slides with the same zoom level. If I move the slides, they are moving together, and ultimately now we can see more or less the same tissue from these consecutive sections with different staining methods, with different stains. Again, I cannot highlight this feature enough. I think this is quite important in routine pathology, and this is something what you cannot do without digital slides and without this viewer software. Okay, I think I showed you all the important features from this CaseViewer software. Now I switch back to my presentation. On this slide, you can see some useful internet addresses if you are interested in our viewer and our quantification solutions. If you have any question, feel free to type your question in the chat window. We are waiting for your question and we are answering them right away here. So please let us know if you have any question, and I would like to thank you for your attention.
So thank you, Akush, also for this exciting presentation. I'm sure we can all agree that we've seen a lot of very interesting things today, and now it is time for questions. This is your opportunity to ask. So please type them into the chat box. Thank you.